People say the dead rest in peace, but she never did. Every storm brings her back to me, whispering my name from the river, like she's still drowning after all these years. You know, son, there's something about rain that never lets me sleep. People find comfort in it, say it washes the world clean. But for me, it brings everything back. Every drop against the glass sounds like a memory I've tried to bury. And tonight, God forgive me, it sounds like her voice. You see, I wasn't always this old man with shaking hands and a heart full of ghosts. Once I was young, foolish, hungry, to prove that fear was just a story adults told to keep children in bed, and that's what led me to the house by the river. It was the summer of 1962. The air was hot, heavy, and thick with the scent of wet soil. My father had just passed away. A quiet man who spent more time staring at that cursed river than at his own family. He left me a single thing in his will. That rotting wooden house near the edge of Blackwater River. The villagers used to whisper that the house was hungry. They said, every few years, someone who entered it never came back out. I didn't believe them. Back then, I didn't believe in anything I couldn't touch. The first time I went there, the river was calm. The water shimmered silver under the moonlight, and the house stood there leaning slightly, like an old man with secrets too heavy to carry. The moment I stepped onto the porch, the boards moaned under my boots. The air smelled of rot and something wet. Inside, the walls were covered in peeling wallpaper, green with mold. Every window was nailed shut from the inside. And yet, I felt a draft cold, steady, as if someone were breathing down my neck. I remember whispering to myself, it's just the wind. But deep down, I knew. The wind doesn't whisper your name. The first night was quiet. Too quiet. I made a fire in the old stone hearth, unpacked my things, and sat with my father's lantern beside me. That's when I saw it, a photograph nailed to the mantelpiece. It was of a woman in a white dress standing by the riverbank. Her face was faded, but her eyes, they were clear. Cold, watching me. I turned the picture around and laughed nervously. You're losing it, Elias, I told myself. It's just an old photo. But when I woke up the next morning, that same photograph was lying on my chest, facing up. And I swear, the woman's eyes looked closer. By the third night, I started hearing it, the drip. At first, I thought it was the roof leaking. But it wasn't rain. It was water, dripping from the attic, and it smelled like the river. I climbed the creaking stairs, lantern in hand. Every step echoing in that hollow house. When I reached the top, the air turned cold, freezing cold. My breath came out in pale clouds.com. The attic door was half open. Inside, I saw footprints, wet ones, leading toward an old wooden chest. When I opened it, it was empty, except for a single waterlogged wedding dress, and pinned to it was the same photograph. I left that night. I told myself I'd never go back, but something about that place, the mystery, the way it pulled at my curiosity, it wouldn't let me rest. So after a week of sleepless nights, I returned. This time, the river was high and restless. The sky was grey and thunder rolled far off in the hills. When I reached the porch, the front door was already open, just a crack. And from inside, I heard it. A woman humming. It was soft, slow, and sad. The kind of tune you'd hum while brushing a child's hair. But the house had been empty for decades. I stepped inside. Hello, I called out. The humming stopped. Something moved in the corner, a figure, faint and grey, turning slowly toward me. Her dress clung to her like it was soaked, her hair dripping, her skin pale as the moon. When she spoke, her voice sounded like it came from underwater. Why did you leave me, Elias? I froze, my heart hammered against my ribs. No, you're not real. She smiled that slow, terrible smile and stepped closer. With every step, the floorboards turned wet beneath her feet. I ran. Down the stairs, out the door, across the field. But the rain had started, and the river was rising fast. Behind me, I could still hear her voice, not shouting, not screaming, just whispering. "Elias, don't run from me again." I didn't stop until I reached the old bridge that crossed the river. And there, I saw her again. Standing in the middle of it, soaked and pale, her face twisted with sadness. "Why?" she asked again. "Why did you let me drown?" And that's when it hit me. She wasn't just any spirit. She was Clara, my mother. When I was a child, I used to play by the river with her. She would laugh, call me her little sailor, and tell me stories about the people who vanished into the water. But one day, during a storm, she slipped. I remember screaming for help, but no one came. I never saw her body. They said the river took her. And now she had come back. That night I collapsed in the mud, crying like the frightened boy I used to be. When I woke, the house was gone. Vanished. The river had risen so high, it had swallowed everything. The villagers found me the next morning, lying half dead by the riverbank. They said I was mumbling over and over, "She's still in there. She's still in there." Years passed. I moved away, married, had children, tried to forget, but every stormy night I'd hear the same sound, soft knocking on the window, gentle humming in the dark, and when I'd close my eyes, I'd see her standing in the river, waiting, her hand reaching out. They say the dead don't remember, but the river does. The river never forgets. One night, many years later, I went back. I don't know what pulled me there. Maybe guilt, maybe fate. The river was calm again, like glass under the moonlight. I walked to where the house used to stand, and there, half buried in the mud, I found it. That same photograph? The woman in white, her eyes now gone completely black. And behind me, I heard her whisper closer than ever before. "Come home, Elias." I should have run, but I didn't. I turned and there she was, standing inches away, her hair dripping down my shirt, her breath cold against my skin. She looked older now, broken, yet still my mother. She reached out her hand and placed it against my chest. The touch burned like ice. I could feel my heart slowing, my breath turning shallow. "Stay," she said. "Stay with me." I remember falling backward into the water. The world went black. When I woke up, I was lying on the riverbank again. Morning light, birds chirping, and beside me, a mark in the mud, 2 sets of footprints leading into the river. Only one set came back out. It's been 60 years since that night. I never went back again, but sometimes when it rains, I hear her voice, soft, gentle, calling my name. And sometimes when I look in the mirror, I see water dripping from my hair. Even though I haven't been outside, the old man's voice falters. He chuckles weakly, then falls silent. Do you know what they call that river now? They call it Mother's Bend. Kids say they see a woman in white standing by the shore, humming to herself. Maybe it's just stories. Or maybe she's still waiting for her son to come home. Thunder rolls. Candle flickers out.